here we are, out hunting in the woods, looking for a very elusive creature. A creature that is quite rare to find, and even when you find it, it is difficult to get it to tame and get breed and use it as you want to. But I hunted high and low everywhere, flying over the top of the tiger woods, looking for this one creature, and we found plenty of wildlife, you know, cows young and old, and wolves and pigs and everything else, but not the creature we wanted as we travelled around the biomes near our house. We even found loads of squid, which was really useful for stocking up our black dye supplies, and so I got stuck in trying to get rid of those. But standing on top of the trees here, we looked around and we still just couldn't find it, and I was starting to get frustrated, thinking that I would never find this creature. But just at the moment when you think that you can't find it, there you find it. The cutest, most adorable creature in the woods. So, after a little bit of getting them to breed together, we got ourselves a breeding pair that was tamed to ourselves, and we had a pair of foxes that we were able to head back across the land and bring them back to our little township on the other side there. Now the question is, what did we want this all for? Why do we have a pair of foxes? Well, there's only one real reason why you might want foxes in Minecraft, and that is for a sweetberry farm. And this is my sweetberry farm. So I've been working on this for the last week, and unfortunately I can't show you a time lapse on it because I mucked up where I was sleeping, so in the replay mod it keeps vanishing during the time lapse. I had a few different iterations. I was trying to decide how to build the little holding areas for where the foxes are going to be, but in the end we came up with these little pens here, which have got pretty large. We got about 6 foxes per pen, and yeah, I mean, this has got to be the most adorable farm that ever exists. You just look at those little fox faces as they're running around in there, diving around and getting all the sweet berries. And the concept is simple. Foxes, when put among sweet berries, will go and grab the sweet berries, but once they've had their fill, they will still continue to bite them and it will knock them off there. But why are we building these? Why are we building these? Well, the reason is that down here to the northeast of our island, there's a bunch of small little tropical islands like this one. And amongst these tropical islands, there's one particular island that's of use to us, and that's this one. This is a flower forest on a small little island, and I am needing more dyes than I currently have at the moment, particularly blue dye. You see, blue dye is needed for my concrete business in order to be able to expand the amount of colours we have in concrete, so we needed to build ourselves a flower farm. Now there's a lesson to be learned here, because this bit here you see at the moment is the first iteration of my forest farm, my flower farm, and I hadn't tested the patch of land. I just looked at where there were blue flowers and built it. And then when I tested this, there were no blue flowers being produced at all on the actual automated system. So I had to turn around and dismantle this one and reconstruct it further down the hill where there was actually a patch of land that I did then actually test to make sure there was some blue flowers that actually did indeed grow. Now, this isn't a particularly based on a single person's design. It's based off a common design that we see quite regularly. I know I've seen people like Ilmango done sort of similar systems to this, and a few others as well. I basically built this based on that rough idea, but also with a bit of my own knowledge as well into it. So we have essentially the old trick of having pistons on either side that push the land back and forward to shuffle the stuff off it, with a dispenser underneath it. Everything's attached to a single timing circuit, which is all timed on a hopper clock, which is at the back. So we need to turn the machine on and off. We can just turn it off with a hopper at the back, and I just have 2 buttons on it. I don't have any automatic systems. But in the middle of constructing this, we came to this. And you notice that I came back to get resources and all my doors were left open. And that's because we had a couple of little devils in there, as you can see, going around, closing all our hatches and shutting down our fences and opening up our doors and everything else like that, and just basically being a little bit of a pest. And as it turned out, it was ForgeOne and Tobsterschomchom who were running around doing this. And as I didn't realise at the time coming into the base that they were still in the base. So I was like, what are you doing? Who's been left all my doors open? And I went around closing them, and then they went around behind me, reopening them again. So in the end, I was like, no, okay, you guys deal with it. I've got to get back to building my outpost. And so I headed back to my outpost. And as I headed back, what I didn't realise, as you can see, is I was about to arrive back in here, following in behind us. They followed us all the way back to the outpost as well. So there's ForgeOne, and just behind him was also Tobsterschomchom. I think that was the order. It might be the other way around as well. But they both followed us into the outpost itself. No doubt to try and play some other prank. And you see him trying to put some lanterns up in the tree here. I'm not sure what they were going for quite up with this lantern itself, but I caught them, and as soon as they realised they'd been busted, they took off again. Tobsterschomchom had given us a nice little chest the other week as well, filled with lapis and stuff like this, but, you know, there's another prank that's been pulled us now, so this is starting to get a little bit out of hand. But anyway, they left us to continue building our flower farm. And I'm the type of person who doesn't just build a farm, I want to actually build stuff around the farm as well, you know. I want to make it look like it belongs. So, as well as building the farm, I decided, well, as we have this island and it's not a part of my main structure either, let's make it into a little tiny outpost that we can say is a part of the Draken Empire territory. So we started building this wonderful little castle here, building all the bits around the side here. Now, if I was visiting here on a more regular basis, I'd probably make this a little bit more detailed. I mean, I was thinking about whether I'd want the floors at slightly different staggered heights, maybe insetting the floor a bit to give it a little bit more interest in the way the floors are, because to me they're a bit flat and plain at the moment. But other than that, I mean, I was quite happy with the way this turned out. As I was saying, we got the flower farm there. It runs off a manual system. We were saying this just before we would cover the pranks. That it runs off a manual system, so there are 2 buttons. So I have built before ones that just automatically go. You know, you just leave them and they just go, and they will automatically stop themselves after a certain amount of shakes, and then it will turn around and flush the system. I didn't go for that level of detail on this one. I just turned around and made it so we had 2 buttons, well, a lever and a button. One lever to make it sort of shake back and forward and dispense all the bone meal, and the other one to then turn around and flush the system with water, so it pushes it all off into the hoppers at the end there. The other thing here, you're sort of seeing I built up this tower and also just built a little jetty out the front, and that's because this was looking a bit squarish as a design, so I decided that we needed to put a little bit more detail, and sometimes just doing little bits like this just changes and breaks up that squareness of the actual build itself. So that's why we built this into the side here. But as we put the flag on here, that's the fort itself built, and we decided I'm going to call this place Fort Poppy, and that was named after my old dog that passed away earlier this year, or mine and my wife's dog, which my wife had raised from a puppy, so I called it Fort Poppy after that. So we come out the front here, I went back to the base, and look what's happened here. Look at that hideous monstrosity. I found out the Mighty High had been over and graffitied our base. And in fairness, I mean, the way he'd done the face, it worked really well with the arches that we built into the base at the top there. They were like almost like eyebrows above it. But what a monstrosity. I mean, seriously, another prank. Again, it just like everyone just seemed to be like pick on Draken Week this week. So it was right, okay, let's take this down then. So I turned around and jumped up there, removed all that, took the free concrete, that was much appreciated. But yeah, so we got that sorted as well. But yeah, there's another prank again that's been pulled us. We're going to have to do something about all this prankage at the moment that's happening. But this is it, that's Fort Poppy, that's our design there. We had it all fully completed there. But there was something missing. I felt that this fort could have one more piece added to the puzzle. And for that, let's go to a time lapse. There we have it, the IDV Jasmine, which was named after our other dog who died last year, Jasmine, who she reached a lovely age of 15, but we rescued her halfway through her life from a dog's home. So I thought I'd name it after her as well, just the same as we named Fort Poppy after our border collie that the wife had raised earlier on. So, okay. Yeah, this is our new frigate that we built there, and I think it just looks spectacular sitting in the front there. We're going to have to build a lot more ships, I think, out here on the server here, because I love building ships. They are absolutely fantastic designs. But we need to have now a serious talk. I am starting to get a bit fed up with the amount of pranks that have been put against us. Other than to pass on the dunce cap so far, I haven't done any prankage until this point, but people keep pranking us, and it's starting to get a little frustrating. There's been non-stop pranks since we've been joining the server, so it's about time we started to retaliate. So I'm not going to turn around and pull pranks on people who have already pranked us, but I will turn around and prank those who have pranked us, and I think they're fair game at that point. So the first person we needed to get back was ForgeOne, who originally gave us the dunce cap and also was involved in opening all the doors in our base and then followed us out to the island. So I thought, right, I want to make sure my pranks, not just pranks, but ones that are best suited for the people we're going against. So I built, as you can see, all these little new pieces of paper with challenges to be done against Forge, little prank challenges against Forge, like throw 500 snowballs at Forge. And then I broke into his Wheeler challenge machine that you saw us using the other day, removed all of the challenges out of it, and put our own challenges in there instead. Now, ForgeOne has already seen these challenges being swapped out there, so for his reaction, go and have a look at his video. We would link it up below the video to that one there. But that was our prank back at Forge. And then we also pranked Mighty High for that wonderful graffiti art he gave us. Now, this is Mighty High's brilliant base. I mean, he's a proper redstone farm builder, and this I love. I think this is absolutely adorable. I think it's a fantastic looking base. If you love redstone, then something like this is something that really gets you excited. But I decided to go down and do the nightmare that all redstoners would hate to see, and I replaced one of his torches, one of his redstone torches, with an ordinary torch. So now he's got to hunt it out from all of his circuits. But that's me. I'm Draken. This is the DrakenWerks, and if you're pranking us, watch out.